welcome back to the Substitutes. And we're going over a favorite topic of mine, apparently. It's October, and Arsenal have already won a trophy. They're top of the table in October. Before, we've talked about Arsenal, we laugh at them all the time. But now they have beaten Liverpool, they have beaten Spurs. Everyone thought they'd trip up in October. Is it time, Majid, to start looking at them and think that something is changing at Arsenal?
Yes, it's definitely time to consider that something has changed in Arsenal, but that doesn't necessarily mean trophies and titles. I think they've
Okay.
steadied the ship very well. They've stabilized everything, especially this time last year. We were talking about how Arsenal has completely capitulated, that they're in the bottom of the league, literally 11th to 20th place, and what's going on. And given the fact that from a year ago to today, they're now first, I don't necessarily know if it's sustainable for this year, but they have steadied the ship and they have changed their ways.
Okay, but haven't you been impressed with that progress? Like from last to first, they have played 10 matches. They sit 4 points clear of Manchester City. They have beaten some big sides that normally would thrash them. Like, don't you feel like there's, like you said, there's steady the ship? Don't you think there's something more that's happening here?
Winds of change have come, but I wouldn't necessarily say because they still have to play City, and that game got postponed, and that was the one that's the real. I agree with
Uh,
you. I fully agree that Liverpool United they lost to United somehow, but Liverpool Spurs they've beaten some excellent sides and they've beaten some sides that some they've won games where they shouldn't necessarily have won. They should have either drawn or lost, and I know our friend Sherry will disagree with that, but I still think that that's the hallmark of a tough team. And just looking, those were the games Fergie's United used to lose. The ones that you're like, these are for sure gimmies. Those are the ones they would. And so Arsenal has avoided that. They're definitely impressive. They're super gelling. The team itself, Martinelli, Saka, Xhaka, Jesus has been a game changer. All the moves they've made, the reason it's a little bit difficult is just because it feels like a lot of the good moves they've made, the solid moves they've made, have actually been on the inside as opposed to what you see on the pitch. They've cleaned inside very the internal structure and communication seems a lot clearer, and that's showing now. The result of that is on the pitch.
all right, so look, I do agree with you, like that they seem to have become a bit more lean internally, but that's also led to some smart appointments over, like some smart signings over the last few years. Now, you're right, Jesus has been a game changer, very experienced head, title winner, but they brought through Saka, Martinelli, um, they Odegaard was signed as well, like been a very good signing. Ramsdale was also brought in and they stuck with him. They've changed the way that they've played. They've got a nice balance of experience and youth, right? Mostly youth, but with that sprinkling of experience. And this is where I feel like it's time now. I don't think Arsenal are going to win the Premier League this season. I just don't think that they're there yet. They're still quite young. But I think this might be the change that we're looking at in terms of them maybe becoming title contenders in the years to come. That's what I feel.
This definitely feels like Arteta's foundational year. Last year was sort of his initiation. This is his real like stamp on Arsenal coaching, and it definitely feels like this is the first year of stability. They're not even just stable, they're actually competing and contending. So I do agree with that. The reason I'm not completely sold on this year is injuries. They have a thin squad. They don't have the
Yeah.
like, uh and with the injuries, like possible injuries, God forbid, but then there's also the World Cup, the middle of the year World Cup. So those two are almost twin, like almost related to each other, and I don't know, those are unknowns. We don't know what's going to happen with regards to that. There's also this postponed game, and that's just a scheduling factor that we now live in a footballing world where schedules can change willy-nilly. It doesn't matter. We can the Queen might die, COVID might hit. We've had one, two, three, four kind of examples of this. So the effect of the World Cup and the postponed game and when it's even gonna happen, because there's also a game with PSV Eindhoven or something. I don't know. The last one is the Arteta factor. Because this is his foundational year, there might be coaching inexperience mistakes that come afterwards in March and in April, where you need to have more load management or even injury management, or you wish you had three more bodies on the bench. That's where the coaching inexperience might kick in, and that's where he sprinted out really well. Arsenal has sprinted out; they've won the 100 meters, but I don't necessarily know if they can win the entire marathon.
So just on that point about the inexperience of Arteta, that showed in the United game when he made multiple substitutions at the same time. They just lost the rhythm, and they were on top at that point. But then when you go to the Spurs game and the Liverpool game, he made the right substitutions. He didn't panic. He got it over the line. So he's shown that he can learn, and he can handle that pressure. So I give props where it's due. I do agree with you. I just want to, before you go on, I do agree with you on the point where I think the squad is quite thin. Like it could be a situation where it's like Liverpool when they won the title like a couple of years ago, where they had a thin squad. They didn't get they got well, they didn't get any injury, so good for them, and they managed to bring it over the line. Like that could happen with Arsenal, but that World Cup is a factor that you just don't know what's going to happen in between. And yeah, like they lose Saka, they lose Jesus, like they're in real trouble. So I think that it might, like with City have a lot of squad depth, but you never know with Arsenal. Like maybe not this year, but if they get that top four this year, then they'll be able to keep building.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to say anytime you go from bottom of the league to first in the league, there's definitely you've learned something, you've admitted some mistakes or whatever, you've already shown some progression there. So like uh hats off to Arteta and his hearts on the whiteboard. I know Gaurav loves his hearts on the
Ah,
whiteboard. Hats off to him. He's done really well. I do wish him future success. I don't necessarily. Well, you know what? I'm a Gunner fan
no,
this
you're a
week, so
glory
you know what?
hunter.
They're number one, so I'm down with them. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Our president, glory hunter. And with that, I'm gonna leave it. Unless you have anything to add, Majid, you're good because I don't know if I can talk about Arsenal anymore. I do hope they
Go
win it this
Gunners.
season. Let me just say I do hope they win it this season because I don't want City to win. Let us know what you guys think in the comment below. Like and subscribe, guys, and we'll see you guys next time.